So today we will discuss the chapter Mendelian Principles of Heredity. Before starting this chapter, I want to introduce this legend, Gregor John Mendel. He was born in 22nd July 1822 in Brunn. That is situated in Austrian. This is a European country and Austria, where he was born, and he was died on 6th January 1884 at the age of 61 in the same place. He started his work in 1857, and he presented his work in 1865, that classical work, or this work was published later on in next year 1866 in Natural History Society of Brunn. I want to show this picture where the Mendel conducted his experiment, classical experimented. This is the nursery where he laid out his experiment, and this is the church where he was working, and in this nursery only, in this garden only, he worked. As I already told that he started his work in 1856 on field P. So how he conducted his experiment? Just he collected some seeds of pea, pure varieties. He grows those lines, make the crossing, proper labeling was there. Then he observed individual plant wise the characters, and then whatever he harvested he counted plant wise. So in his study he used 7 pair of contrasting traits. Contrasting means हिंदी में उसको विपर्याय कहते हैं. Contrasting means होता है if one is tall, other is dwarf. If one is plain, other is constricted. These are the contrasting traits. So in his study on P, field P, Mendel used 7 pair of characters. This is also important that what is the name of his classical paper? Just you all note down this. His first paper, what he presented in 1865, that experiments in plant hybridization. This is the name of the paper, and this paper was published in 1866 in Natural History Society of Brunn, and he also published a short note in 1869 on Hieracium. This is the Hieracium, that is also called hawkweed, and on this his next publication was there in 1869. He also conducted his experiment and up to 1871, and he concluded on P. He continued his work up to 1871. This is also important to tell that Mendel not only worked on P, but he also worked on different insects, meteorology also, and only 2 papers he published in plant hybridization. So from 1863 to 1871, he published 2 publications on plant damaging insects. 9 papers he published on meteorology, and only 2 papers on plant hybridization, which were considered as classical papers. Out of these in publications के अलावा भी he published 20 minor publications, mostly on book reviews. This is also very interesting that Mendel के जो sign रहते थे, either he started it with capital M or small m. This is the sign of Mendel. Since you all are a student of genetics, you must know these things. Now, where these classical papers are available, that will be important for you. If anybody is interested, he can cite it from these places. One book, actually, the original paper in German language is available in Journal of Heredity. It's volume 42, pages from 1 to 47. And this general जो इशू है ये 1951 का इशू है, और इसमें ये पेपर available hai. The English translation is also available in Harvard University Press, Cambridge publication in 1948. एक बुक है हमारे लाइब्रेरी में भी अवेलेबल है, दैट इज सिनेट एंड डन का बुक है. सो इस बुक में द टाइटल ऑफ दिस बुक इज प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ जेनेटिक्स, और इस बुक में भी मेंडल का ओरिजिनल पेपर इंग्लिश वर्जन अवेलेबल है. जेम्स से पीटर का एडिटेड बुक है. In that book also, the original paper of Mendel is available. Now, we will discuss about the Mendel's paper, Mendel's work on P. So, question arises why he choose the P, Poison sativum only, field P. So, as you know, P is a self-pollinated crop and it is a seasonal crop. So in small area, the plant is also short. So in small area, he can grow the pea plant. As you know, in one pot, number of seeds are formed. 5 to 6 seeds, even more seeds are formed. So he can produce lots of offsprings. एक बार क्रॉस बना के वो कई बीज उससे प्राप्त कर सकता था. Since it is a self-pollinated crop, it was easy to maintain the purity of the plant. और इसमें अगर वो क्रॉसेस बनाना चाहता था तो आर्टिफिशियली ही कैन मेक द क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन आल्सो बाय इमेस्कुलेटिंग द फीमेल प्लांट. Mendel, in his study, Mendel used the 7 characters. Those are the contrasting traits. At seed, I classified these traits according to the basis which are on seed, which are on plant, and which are on other traits, pods. So at seed level, he studied 3 traits. First is seed shape. Seed shape में जो contrasting traits थे, first was smooth, second is wrinkled. Wrinkled का मतलब होता है जो सूखने पे seed coat wrinkling आ जाती है उसमें. Next character what he studied was the seed coat color, white and grey. Third character white का contrasting क्या है, grey. कॉटिलीडन लेवल पे इन्होंने येलो कॉटिलीडन और ग्रीन कॉटिलीडन. कॉटिलीडन क्या होता है, जब आप सीड कोट निकालते हो तो अंदर की जो दाल है उसका कलर, तो या डोमिनेंट ट्रेट जो था वो येलो था और रिसेसिव वाज द ग्रीन. Here I want to inform you that why the wrinkling of the seed occurs. This is other than this, but you must know it. If the any sweet pea, अगर मीठी मटर है, उसको जब सुखाते हैं तो उसमें रिंकलिंग आती है, जबकि जो बटरी रहती है वो सूखने पे हार्ड रहती है और राउंड शेप आती है. So 3 characters he studied at the seed level. 2 characters he studied at pod level. First was the form of ripe pod. Ripe pod का शेप कैसा है, स्मूथ या फिर कंस्ट्रिक्टेड. कंस्ट्रिक्टेड का मतलब क्या होता है, जब ये फल्ली में इस तरह से लहर आती है ये कंस्ट्रिक्टेड कहलाती है. तो जो फलियां हैं वो स्मूथ है या कंस्ट्रिक्टेड है, तो स्मूथ वाज द डोमिनेंट ट्रेट एंड द कंस्ट्रिक्टेड वाज द रिसेसिव ट्रेट. The fifth character he studied was color of unripened pod. So whether the pod color was yellow or green, he studied on this. At flower level, he studied the position of flower. Position of flower में he studied 2 traits. Axillary, whether the bud is present at axillary. Axillary means होता है जो leaf है या branch है इसके इस पोजीशन पे अगर बड है तो दैट विल बी कॉल्ड एक्सिलरी बड. और या तो फिर टर्मिनल, एक टॉप पे फ्लावर आएगा और ग्रोथ उसकी रुक जाएगी, यहाँ पे कंटिन्यू ग्रोथ होती. तो उसने चूज किया फ्लावर लेवल पे वेदर द फ्लावर इज एक्सिलरी पोजीशन और टर्मिनल पोजीशन. At stem level, he studied 2 traits, that the difference in the length of stem, whether the plant is dwarf or plant is tall. So these 7 contrasting traits Mendel used for his study. The latter portion we'll discuss in next continuation.